Okay, guys, welcome back to the Let's Get Freaky podcast. Super excited to welcome Andy on the show. Andy, how are you, brother?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. A little knackered from work, but
Yeah,
good to
working
be
hard,
on.
man.
Good to be on.
Working hard. So I
Well,
really appreciate your time. Sometimes we work hard. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah,
So you are from Spooky Island Radio, which is an
yeah,
awesome podcast. I recently found you on, well, I've been following you on Instagram for quite a while.
yeah, yeah.
Checked out the show. Really cool, man. Love it. Absolutely
Thank you.
fantastic stuff. Can you tell the listeners that may not have heard you or your show a little bit about yourself and a bit about your podcast as well?
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah. So my name's Andy, and yeah, for a few years I've run a podcast called Spooky Island Radio. Um, Started out as a podcast with me and my friend trying to scare each other and basically get pissed. Like that's how it started out. After about 6, 7 months, she was like, "No, it's not for me. Can't be." Just couldn't keep up with the schedule, so it was always me pushing. So that's when it sort of moved to be by myself, and it sort of changed format a little bit. Because obviously, I was by myself, like we weren't telling stories to each other. It was me researching stuff, um, and yeah, I got into some really strange subjects. Like I can see on your background, you've got like Sasquatch and Bigfoot and stuff like that. And one of the main things that I really got into was the missing 411 in
Yes,
America.
bro.
And
Yes.
so I still do stuff like, oh, this ghost at this location, or famous stories. But the ones that always perform the best were the missing 411 cases. So I really started to fall down rabbit holes and like, okay, is there something to it? And yeah, so that's sort of how my podcast changed. And then I was sort of toying with the idea of going onto YouTube and video format. And because I was just sort of, I was doing it by myself. I was, researching, editing, filming, everything on my own. And I sort of wanted to be a bit more social. So that's why I sort of, in the last year, branched out into YouTube, got all the gadgets to all the cameras and all that. And yeah, it's sort of changed a little bit now, more like a paranormal investigation, like I go out onto location. Um, and now I'm just starting sort of doing something similar to yourself, where I'm talking to people about their stories. So yeah, so that's sort of my journey of the last sort of 4 or 5 years, and yeah, sort of where I am now.
Awesome. Awesome stuff, man. And the missing 411 is a fascinating topic. And you
For
can
sure.
go down some rabbit holes, that's for sure,
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
look into that. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
for anyone that doesn't know that, that's obviously there's a lot of people in North America that have just basically vanished. There's a huge amount of people, and sometimes these are skilled hunters, people that live in the wilderness, that are always out, that know exactly what they're doing. I
Mm.
know things can happen in the forest, in any forest,
Yeah,
things can
yeah, of
happen,
course.
and there might not look like there's a logical explanation, but there might be in some cases, obviously. But in
Mm,
some of these cases in the missing 411, it's just they're so bizarre, and
yeah.
and and it just logical explanations just seem to go out the window. What are your thoughts on the missing 411 as a man that's dug deep into the research?
I uh I definitely think there's something to it. Like, obviously, being from the UK, it's difficult to like sort of comprehend actually how massive the wilderness is in America and how much um is wilderness. And yeah, obviously there's certain criteria, and you start to dig a little deeper. So usually it happens by water. Usually somebody's taken right from underneath people's noses. Um, and they call out the search, and sniffer dogs can never pick up a scent. Usually like weather hinders like the search, so people can't search. And usually if anybody is found, or like clothing is found, it's usually in an area that's been previously searched. Um, so yeah, it's really fascinating. And I did like a couple of episodes on Alaska and like the Alaskan Triangle. And it's something like, I can't remember how many thousands of people go missing a year, but it was like the size of the town that I grew up in, of people that go
Whoa!
missing every year in Alaska. I can't
Wow!
I can't remember the exact figure off the top of my head now. I'm sure it was about 10,000. I mean, you can you know, put in something where I was wrong, but I'm sure that was the statistic off the top of my head.
Hmm. Yeah,
Just
no doubt. Which is wild. It's a
yeah,
huge amount of people to just go missing without a trace.
mm, yeah,
I mean, sometimes obviously they find a shoe or a pair of shoes or something, but that often doesn't help with what's happened. It's just
yeah.
it adds to the mystery sometimes.
Mm.
That's wild, man.
It's just strange. I still don't really understand, like, or have a proper idea of what I think happens. Like, some of these stories, like kids are getting snatched from within 100 yards of their family, um, who get like almost like they've been picked up, and then sometimes they get found 10, 15 miles away with no shoes and not dirty feet, like
Hmm.
the and they, it's has something extraterrestrial taken them. Is it? I don't know if it's Bigfoot. I don't know because
You're not
there's
you're not on the Bigfoot vibe.
I believe no, I definitely believe in Bigfoot. I
Yeah.
definitely think because I've got a friend who lives in New York State. I've been on his podcast a few times, and his big thing is Bigfoot.
Hmm.
Um, and I know some people think like they're these extraterrestrial beings who like create portals, and if that's your vibe, it's your vibe. But to me, it's a primate if it exists.
Hmm.
We just haven't discovered it yet. Um, so whether they have that sort of sentientness to them to think, okay, I'm going to take that child. Um, I lean into more extraterrestrial, I
Hmm.
think, than
Okay.
anything else. Yeah.
Interesting, man. But you got the stories of like the young there was that young boy that went missing that time. And I believe he was missing for like 3 days. It might have been longer
Mm.
than that. It might have been 3 weeks, but I know that's quite a big difference. But
Yeah.
if they found him and he looks like obviously he'd been in the forest for a long
Mm.
time, but he claimed that bears kept him alive.
Yeah.
Have
I
you
can't
seen that
remember.
story?
I think I have. I can't remember who, it's been a while now, but I do remember that one. And there was like, people think, is it wild men? Like Wrong Turn. Is it people like that sort of
Yes. Yeah.
taking people? And there was like a story of this woman, and she was like really clever. She was like hiking by herself, and obviously on certain hikes they have like checkpoints where you sign your name in a book. So if something goes wrong, they can sort of pinpoint whereabouts they got to and stuff like that. And she always went hiking by herself, and she was signing a guy's name as well. So she's signing her own name, and then so if somebody was tracking her, like to take her or do something, they thought she wasn't alone. And she went off track for like a week, I think, and basically said she was being pursued all week by these wild men in the woods. And she heard like helicopters overhead, and she wouldn't try and get noticed because she knew she was being trapped. Um,
Whoa.
and she finally got out, and it was like a big hush up from the government. They were like, "No, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it," um, because maybe they know something's out there.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well, that sort of seems to be the case the more you
Mm.
look into it. It's like, how could they not know, basically?
Yeah,
We know
yeah.
our governments, we know what they're like. We know they're very
Oh yeah.
corrupt and yeah.
Name a government that isn't.
Name a government, yeah, absolutely, man. And it gets more shocking as time goes on. It
Mm.
gets more revealing, shall we say?
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Us conspiracy guys.
Hmm.
I assume you're a conspiracy guy as well.
Bits and bobs. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's difficult in the conspiracy world.
yeah, I think sometimes I like the idea of a conspiracy, but sometimes I just think actually it's just a load of crap.
Mm,
So I don't know if I
yeah,
can swear on it. I don't know if I can say that
there's
or
a
not.
lot. No, you can absolutely, man. There's a lot out there, man. It's like there's so much. It's clear some conspiracies are very real.
Mm,
Some obviously with the internet and things like that. There's a lot of stuff pumped out that's misinformation. It's very hard to see the
yeah,
truth
yeah.
a lot of the time. But I think we can all. It's all fair to say that our governments are corrupt.
Oh
I
yeah,
think that's.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think even your, most liberal person will say.
Hmm.
I think the government is
They're
corrupt.
always plotting something. There's always
Yeah. Oh,
something going on.
absolutely, absolutely, man. So, what part of the UK are you in right now, if you don't mind
So
telling us?
yeah, no, I'm in London.
Oh, you're a London boy. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
well, not always, but yeah, I moved down here um about 5, 6 years ago now, just before COVID, to be fair. So
Oh, okay. Cool, man.
that's my benchmark for how long I've lived here is COVID.
Yeah, that's like everything now, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it feels like last year or a couple of
I
years
know,
ago,
and
but
it's
it's like
like 6 years ago now.
I know, man. It's wild. Because I'm from London. I'm from Essex,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
but I lived obviously right next to London, and now I live in Dorset, and I moved to Dorset just after COVID. Well, basically when
Okay.
they let us free,
Mm,
and then I moved out, and it feels like I mean, it doesn't feel like I've been here that long, but obviously
mm.
it's 4 years now. It's
Yeah,
wild,
yeah,
man.
time flies. Yeah.
Pretty crazy, brother. So what got you into these wild topics, the paranormal?
So the paranormal is, I mean, I don't know, I feel like, or I mean, as a kid, like, I think nowadays, why am I into this? And like, my three favorite films and TV shows growing up: Scooby-Doo, Casper, and like the Addams Family.
Let's go.
Like, and we wonder why. Like, this is my personality now, Like,
Yeah.
so I think I was always quite enjoyed it and liked it. And then I suppose my main story is when I moved. So I was born in Kent, down south, and when I was about 11, 12, moved up north because my dad's got a job. So we did a big move, and it was sort of, so I was about 11, and my sister was just a year older, and my nan and granddad lived nearby to where we were going to be living. So to get into the school system and stuff like that, we lived like apart for a year from my mum and dad. So, my dad was traveling up, taking us to my nan and granddad. Then during the week, we'd go to school up north. And then, like on a Friday, my dad would pick us up and we'd drive back down to see my mum um, for that year because we had to get into the system while my mum and dad like found a house for us to live in and stuff. And we're sort of getting to the point where we sort of knew there was a house that they'd viewed that they wanted to go purchase. And I'd always be like, oh, can we come see the house? And they were like, no, you can't come to the house. I was like, okay. And then it progressed over the next few months, and it was like, okay, we've bought the house. We're like, okay, um, so can we come see it now? They're like, no, we've not exchanged yet. The old owners are still living there. And basically, the night we moved in was the night that we first saw it, me and my sister. So I was still about 12 years old at this point. Um, and I sort of said to mum and dad, I was like, why couldn't we see it until now? And they basically said the older couple that lived in the house wouldn't sell in the house if they had kids. Like they hated kids.
Wow.
So that's like the basis of like they just hated kids. And corroborated with other kids in the area. Obviously, when I moved in, made some friends, and they were like, "Oh, you live in that house? That's where such and such live." Where we used to go and knock on the door and run away, and they like scream and shout at us, and like they really, were not nice people. Um, so yeah, so that's sort of the baseline for how I felt going in. It's like, oh, bit weird, bit weird.
Whoa, man. Yeah, that is strange. I think anyone that hates kids is quite strange. I'm sorry.
Mm.
I'm sorry to say that. How can you hate kids, man?
I
Like,
know, I
you
know.
know,
It's
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 such
so
a weird.
strange.
Yeah, I mean, each their own, I guess. But
Mm.
even if you're an adult that doesn't want to have kids, like,
You can still love
which is
it.
absolutely fine, it's very normal. But why would you hate kids?
Mm.
It doesn't. It's very strange. We used to
It's
on our old road. You always get that house, didn't you? That
yeah, yeah,
hates kids playing out in the street. And we
yeah.
had it. We had it on our street. There was this lady, and we never really, we never bothered. We weren't bad kids, We didn't
Mm.
throw
Yeah, yeah,
things at a house, We might have played a little knock and run every now and again, but nothing too bad.
yeah, yeah,
And she hated us. Like if we were out in the street playing football, which we did most days,
yeah, yeah.
she'd come to the front door and yell at us, and my friend lived next door to her house, and we'd play
Mm.
on his trampoline, and
Yeah, yeah.
she would watch us through like he had like
Oh God.
wooden fences, and she would stand, and like her eyes, you'd see her eyes. It was so freaky, man.
Right.
And she just hated us, and it was very strange. And like you were saying with that house, that sort of became like, oh, she's the local, demon
Stay
or
away.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
stay away, whatever you want to call her. And then obviously stories build around her, like why does she
yeah,
hate people? And you never see her with anyone else, and she becomes this dark kind of figure. She's probably just a very old, lonely lady, and that's quite
yeah.
sad. But when you're a kid, you don't really think of it that way.
No,
But
no,
yeah, sorry, man, I went on a
no, no. It's not.
reminded me of that
Well, good.
crazy lady.
Yeah, there's always, like you said, there's always one, isn't there?
What's that film? Monster House.
Yeah, yeah,
Get
the
off
animal.
my lawn! That kind of guy. And then he turned out to be like a nice guy. It was like,
Yeah, yeah. Deep down, you just need to break through that
yeah,
barrier.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I mean, they at least had each other because this was like a married couple, like a guy and a woman. Um, but yeah, didn't. So I was about 12. Um, Nothing really happened, at all. To be honest, wasn't even on my radar. Um, then about 14, 15, me and my mum really got into Most Haunted. You know, love it or hate it, but it's a good time. It's a good time. Um, like, I remember we'd sit there and watch like they did like Most Haunted live all weekend, and like me and my mum would sit down every single like Thursday night. We'd sit down, watch it all the way through. Yeah, so we were properly into it, and that sort of brings, I suppose, to the first part of the story where I get a letter through the post box. And, as you do when you're a kid, like I didn't recognize the name on the envelope, so I just opened it. And it was a letter to this woman, didn't know her name, but it was basically a sympathy letter for the fact that her husband had died. Um, so I was like putting two and two together. I'm like, it must be the old woman and guy who lived there, and they've just not told everybody the change of address. Um, So that sort of planted the seed. I'm like, okay, so if it is who I think it is, then he's passed away. And you didn't really think more of it. And then I was starting to learn bass in school. Um, Guitar was my first option, but my mate was like, no, I'm learning guitar. You do bass. So I was like, okay. I'm glad of now because bass is so much better than guitar. So much better. Um, but yeah, it was middle of the day after I got this letter, maybe a few months later. And middle of the day, bright, and I'm stood with my bass, playing along to some songs, and no one's in the house. Middle of the day, and I'm just sort of like vibing a little bit, moving my head side to side a little bit, playing along to the music, and then out the corner of my eye, for a second, the second that I moved my head like that, I thought I could see like a shadow on the top of the stairs. And so if I'm like looking down the hallway, and then there's like a walkway and the stairs sort of go underneath themselves. But it's a really bright hallway, so there's like a window right there, and it was middle of the day. I thought to myself, I've just seen like a shadow, and it looked like it was moving towards going down the stairs, like a full black shadow. Um, and it was enough for me to stop the music, put the bass down, and see if someone had come home, which they hadn't. And I sort of went downstairs, and again, nothing, nobody in. But for that split second, I'd definitely seen this shadow moving down the stairs.
Whoa, how big was it?
It's probably 6 foot, maybe not taller than 6 foot, probably just a little bit under. Um, from what I could think, it was definitely taller than I was at the time, and I was probably about 5'6", 5'7", probably at that age.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely under 6 foot, but I go backwards and forwards as to whether it has a hat on or not. I can't remember, but obviously with creepy pasta and stuff like that over the years, Hatman's like become this massive thing.
Hmm.
So I go backwards and forwards on whether I did see him with a hat on, but obviously Hatman's usually to do like sleep paralysis and stuff. Um, but yeah, really strange. I was just like, did I really see that? Like I definitely saw it. And mum and dad came home like 10 minutes later. I was like, he's literally just got back in. I watched them walk through the door, but I still asked them, like, have you just got back in? And they're like, yeah. I said, I've just seen this shadow moving down the stairs. And my dad, like always, was like, "Oh no, you didn't." Like, when we were watching Most Haunted, he was like, "That's a load of crap, a load of shit." Um, and my mum was a bit more open to it, but still, um, sort of, "Oh, well, it's just your eyes. It's just your eyes." Um, so yeah, so that was the first part, really. The,
Whoa.
the first time I properly saw something.
Yeah. And you know when you've seen something that you can't explain,
Mm.
it's, you can say we've got wild imaginations and we do possibly manifest stuff sometimes, but mostly when you've seen something that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just cannot explain.
yeah,
You know you've had an experience that is not it's supernatural.
yeah.
It's just a feeling inside. You
Mm.
can kind of say, oh, it's my imagination, which some people do, and I think that's how they sort of move on from a lot of these
Mentalize it.
things. Yeah. But for guys like us that kind of accept it, it's like I think that's
Yeah.
why you continue. I mean, I don't know if you continue to have more
Yeah,
experiences, but
there is more. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like some people say like ghosts is like transparent almost, but this was not. It was like solid black um, shape moving down the stairs.
hmm
Um, so yeah, and then so I'm about 15, 16 at this point. I'm not really, a lot of people say they hear things and stuff. I wasn't getting, pardon me, anything like that. It was only these couple of experiences. So there's nothing in between where I was sort of really terrified or there's footsteps in the house. There was nothing like that. um and then maybe a couple of months after that first seeing this figure, um I'm in bed. Like, this is like the main part of the story, and I've spoken to like people obviously through doing paranormal investigations and mediums and sensitives, and they sort of, I tell them this story and they sort of go between whether it's like either astral projection or like an out of body experience. Um, so basically, I was just went to sleep this one night, and I used to sleep with my door on the latch, so it wasn't shut properly, but you could hear it if it opened. Um, and I was having this really weird dream. So I've always had like really vivid dreams and like almost lucid dreams at some points, I think. Like, I really feel it. Um, and anyway, this one night I was having like this conversation. So it was like a film is how I describe it. So it was like a close up of my face lying in bed, and I was watching everything happen through this view. And it was like I was speaking to this thing on the other side of my door. So having that conversation, and then it would like cut to outside the door and like this shadow up against my door responding to like what we're talking about. And it's really strange. It's almost like having this sort of telepathic conversation with nothing that's there. Um, and then it was sort of cut back to me, then back to the shadow, and then I remember saying something in my dream like, "Oh, I don't believe like if you really are there, you need to show me that you're there. Like, I'm sick of like this." And then I heard the latch open on the door. And then it was like I was the figure on the other side of the door. So I hear in real life, I hear the latch open. And then it's like it cuts to my door opening and me watching myself in bed sleep.
whoa.
And it like runs at me. So like it's like first person view. I run towards myself, and then like I wake up and I'm like cold sweats, sweating. Sorry, the cat's wanting to get out.
That's all right, man.
Um,
Whoa.
and yeah, I was like, I woke up and I was freezing cold, sweating, goosebumps everywhere. And I just thought to myself, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
It was almost like I was. That's why I think people say, or maybe it's an out of body or astral projection sort of thing. 'Cause it's like coming back to my own body
hmm
at the end, but it was like it was from the part of this shadow figure.
Whoa. So like you became one with this
Yeah,
entity.
yeah, it was really strange. Um, but I think obviously it's because I challenged it. So I sort of said at that point, I don't believe it's you. Show me that you're real. And that's when it sort of, yeah, door opened and it just ran at me.
Wow. When you opened the door open and it kind of switched to your view
Yeah.
as that shadow figure,
Hmm.
was it you in that moment? Do you know if it was your consciousness? Was it your mind or
I think it
were
was
you
me
s-
viewing the shadow. Like, I don't think it was me. Like, I didn't have my own thoughts and stuff. I think it was me sort of tapped in to like the
Whoa.
shadow figure.
Yeah.
It's really strange. I must sound like mental.
No, no, absolutely not. And not on this podcast, you don't, bro. So don't worry about that. Man,
Yeah,
that is wild.
yeah. It was
Did you
pretty.
get it was freaky, 100%, man. Did you get a an idea of what the shadow entity looked like?
There's no features. It was literally just like shoulders, body, and like a head.
Hmm.
But yeah, never got any features or anything from it. It was just complete black.
Yeah.
Um,
So
no light whatsoever.
your typical shadow figure entity, when
Yeah.
people see these things, I've seen these
Mm,
things. I've woken up during the night and there's been the shape of someone standing there,
mm.
darker than the dark. These
Yeah,
things are, you think you're in a dark room and then these things are
even
darker.
darker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you can see clearly like the outline. Terrifying stuff,
yeah.
man. So
And
that's what
I
this
know,
looked like.
yeah, and obviously I know people might be like, oh well, it could be sleep paralysis, and I was like, but I wasn't awake.
Mm.
Like I wasn't awake at this point, and I've had sleep paralysis once in my 20s, I think. Um, but I sort of had read up about it and knew about it. So when I sort of woke up paralyzed, I didn't really feel anything. So I was like, okay, right, it's just my body not woken up yet. Like, so I didn't see a figure or anything then.
Hmm.
Why would I see it when I was like 15, 16 if it was that?
Yeah.
But again, I was definitely asleep.
Whoa. I mean, I do think personally, I've experienced sleep paralysis as well, and I
Mm,
do think that in some cases there is a supernatural element to that, what we're
yeah, yeah.
experiencing.
Mm,
I know there can be like a scientific, reason for why we have these things happen, but I do think in some cases science thinks it can explain it, but there's something more going on that we just don't understand,
yeah, yeah.
I quite
Hmm.
often think. That's wild, man. That's a wild
Yeah.
experience. I mean, so was it hard to differentiate when you was awake and when you was asleep in that moment? Was it like you were sort of in between two worlds, would you say?
I no, I think I definitely knew I was always asleep
Hmm.
because the memory of waking up is like so visceral. So like and like running to my body, like I knew that happened, which then I sat up in bed. So yeah, I knew I was asleep. It's just knowing who I was.
Yeah,
Was
that's
I?
wild.
It's almost like how have you seen the first Insidious film?
Yes. Yeah.
I know you might not. I'll send you the picture so you can put it up. Because you might not know the reference, or obviously people watching might not know the full reference. But there's a part at the start where the lad comes back from the hospital and stuff's starting to happen, or it might even be the opening credits and they're showing that scene, and there's like the demon is like in the corner next to the bed, like pointing at him, and that's the sort of vibe that I got from it. Not like I don't think it wanted to take over me, but like that's how my viewpoint was. Do you know what I mean? I was like watching, and it was almost
Yeah.
like maybe I was there watching my own body. Um, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
If that
absolutely.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely, man. So it sounds like you astral projected and you was like, I don't know, maybe in the dream world protecting yourself. I don't know
Yeah.
what this could mean, but
Mm,
I mean,
it's
I
insane.
definitely believe dreams. Like I've said this before on the podcast, but I used to think dreams were just dreams, and sometimes
Mm,
we can make things of dreams and make more of dreams. But
yeah.
I really do believe that some dreams are, there is a lot more going on with our dreams,
Yeah.
basically. The dream world is, we don't really understand it.
Mm,
No scientist, I don't think, actually really understands exactly what's going on with dreams.
yeah.
I don't think we've got the evidence to know, but there
Mm,
seems to be a lot more going on with our
yeah.
dreams.
And I feel like I've always had really vivid dreams as well. Like I will sound like a proper nutter now, but like
No, it's
even
fine.
to even to like this day, I'm still having dreams where like it's going to sound crazy, but like I can't believe I'm sharing it, but I'm going to. I don't care.
Let's go.
Um, I've always had recurring dreams with dinosaurs. It's going to sound really, really weird, but like,
Again, not on this podcast, brother.
but like it's so real. I know people like remember sometimes their dreams and stuff, but this is what I mean. I feel like if I proper try to, go into like meditation states and try and learn how to vivid dream or lucid dream, I feel like I could do it because my dreams are always really crazy. Like, and specifically these ones with dinosaurs I've had throughout my life, where usually it involves me being hunted by something, which obviously I've seen Jurassic Park. It's like a big thing. Obviously, it's like a memory, isn't it? But I always feel like I'm in control, like of the dream. So it's like, ridiculous stuff is happening in your dream, and I feel like I can feel it in my body. Like the emotion is like so real, and it's like I think they say like lucid dreaming is like where you actively are making decisions to like carry it on. It's not just like really weird thing happening and then a weird thing and then a weird thing. Like I literally have like objectives sometimes in my dreams. It's like, okay, like, oh, I need to get there and pick somebody up in this zoo that I'm in or this woodland that I'm in, but there's like a T-Rex down that end, and it's like physically trying to crawl through, and I can feel like the proper emotion.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's really strange. And like, dreams where you fly in and stuff like that, I really feel like sometimes I'll like wake up from it and I'll go back to sleep and I'll pick up right where I've left off. And it's like, I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if
Yeah.
people having normal dreams can do that or stuff, but
Hmm.
I do
I
feel like my dreams have always been like that.
I have had that where I've woken up from a dream and gone back to sleep, back into that dream.
Mm,
Some dreams, like you kind of wake up and you know you were dreaming, you know it was a dream. It might have been weird, might have been a bit freaky, but
yeah,
you kind of it's gone. It's gone
mm,
after a couple of minutes. And then sometimes you wake up and there's like this dream's affected you like mentally and physically,
yeah,
and you're like, that was so real, you know?
mm.
And I don't know if that's if the, what do you think that is? Do you think we're in another realm when we're dreaming? What do you think's going on?
I
I know it's
really,
difficult.
it is. I really don't know, and I think there's certain people. I do think there's certain people that dream differently. I think maybe it's astral projection or something like in Insidious and stuff, where you leave the body and in a different realm or something. I'm not sure whether I would say that, but there's definitely somewhere I think where certain people are just genetically tapped into,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, I think definitely there's something there, like you say, we don't fully understand.
Yeah.
But,
When you hear people like meeting in their dreams and stuff like that, which
mm,
I've heard, people that like your friend will wake up and be like, I dreamt that I was at the hospital last night, for example. And they're like, I dreamt that we was at the hospital together last night. You hear stories like that and
yeah, I
think,
think
well, that's,
Danny. I think on Uncanny. I think their first story they did the room 611 or something
hmm.
about like a haunted university dormitory room, and it was about these obviously these two lads were sharing a room, and they worked that out that one would have the start of the dream and the other would have like the end. And when they
Whoa.
started to like hear, there was other things happening in the room physically, so they would talk about it, and then they'd work out that one would have the first half of it and the second one would have the second half, which is strange. Like, how does that
Yeah.
happen?
How can you explain that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more going on with our dreams, brother. That
100%.
is for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
So that entity that charged you, that you were
yeah.
kind of connected with, do
Yeah.
you think that was the same shadow? I know this is difficult as well, but do you think
I
that
think
was
it
the
was.
same?
It was definitely the
Okay.
same. I think it was definitely the same shadow figure that I saw that day when I was playing my bass, um, because it felt almost like we had that connection or like that history where he's like harassing me now this night because I saw him.
Mm.
Because it's like, so yeah, it's definitely him, and I say him because obviously I put two and two together, and I think, oh, is this man who used to live here, hated kids, and has now died, come back, and there's kids living in his house.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how I put it together in my head.
Do you know why they hated kids, that couple?
I don't. My mum and dad didn't really say, and I was quite young, so I don't. I just don't think they had any of their own. I think, like you say, they sort of didn't have their own, and they sort of became that strange couple that.
Yeah.
Not they're saying you have to have kids, but like that weird couple who just start resenting them for
Hmm.
certain reasons, and then it just sort of becomes a thing.
Yeah. I mean, not to sell your house to someone that's got kids. I mean,
It's
that's pretty
strange.
deep
Yeah,
and strange. That's very strange. It's like, really, as long as someone's prepared to buy a house, why would you care?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I know, obviously, I mean, it's so weird. Kids, I mean, maybe
It's
if
a
you didn't
strange
like
caveat to
cats,
have. Yeah,
I don't want any cat owners in my house. Maybe, no, even that's strange, I think, to be
yeah,
honest, because once you're selling your
yeah.
house, why are you
Why you bother?
worried? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
weird, man.
Strange.
Do you think it's possible that this guy's spirit entity was there and he was
Yeah,
tormenting you?
that's what I think. Um, that's what I sort of think. But it's really strange. So after that experience, it completely shifted. Like I wasn't scared in the house by myself anymore. Obviously, the last few months I've been getting a bit more and more scared. Um, it was like the weight had lifted, and I know he was still there because my parents were away. So this is like the final time that I sort of had an interaction with it. But my parents were away, so I was having people around. I mean, we were only like 17, so we weren't like, we had a few drinks, but we weren't, getting smashed. Just had a bit of music on. It was like really chill. And my mate went to me. He's like, it's quite early. He was like, oh, I'm a bit knackered. Don't feel great. Can I go to bed? I was like, yeah, yeah. Knock yourself out. Go upstairs. Go to bed. So he sort of goes upstairs, and then we're in the living room. So me and a few other people are in the living room, but I'm leaning up against the door frame, just talking to everybody. And the stairs are right behind me to go up. And it's been like 45 minutes. My mate is probably passed out by this point. And one of my mates who's talking to me is like, oh, did Martin just go upstairs? I was like, no. They're like, where is he? I was like, well, he's gone to bed. He's like been in bed for like the last 40 minutes. They're like, he's not just gone now. I was like, no. And I was like, why? And they were like, well, I've just seen a shadow move behind you and go up the stairs. And I was like, okay. But also I weren't scared. It was just like, okay, well that's who it is. It's this guy, this um person or being that I've sort of had this interaction with. And I sort of go back and forth on why the shift, especially after that night, was terrifying. Why all of a sudden was I not scared? Why all of a sudden was he not showing himself, or making his presence known? And I thought initially it was because I stood up to him. So it's like asserting that sort of, oh, I'm not scared, like, but someone else said, well, in doing that, maybe you've shown that you're not a kid, that like you're not a kid anymore. So like you're getting older. So it's like he sort of let me be almost.
Yeah, yeah. You're at the age now where he's happy for you to live in his house.
Yeah.
Not
And
happy,
I
you know
sort
what
of stood up to him a little bit, and it was sort of strange. I remember thinking like, oh well, that's just him. Like someone was like, and I was just wasn't bothered by it anymore. And it was just a thing that I learned to cohabit with. Never really saw anything again.
I mean?
Um, and it was, yeah, really peaceful. And yeah,
Wow, man. So was it more of like a feeling of when he was around? Because obviously you didn't see him too many times,
yeah, yeah,
but more like a knowing and a feeling.
yeah. It was more sort of on that sort of lizard brain, I suppose you'd say. Like you just sort of know something's there.
Hmm.
Um, and in the lead up to the really scary events, it was scary. I'd sit like at the front door sometimes, or sit in the front room looking out if I was in the house by myself, waiting for people to come in. Um, and it got that feeling, and yeah, after that, it was just sort of still the same sort of feeling, but it was like I'm not scared anymore, and it was almost
Interesting.
like he wasn't bothering me anymore either.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was really strange. No one else felt anything either, um, in my family. Um, but my mum has sort of said in the last few years, it was a dark house. They moved out maybe 5, 6 years after that, um, into like a house just down the road. But it was night and day, really. Like they were both pretty much new builds, the new house and that house. But the newer house is just so much lighter. Like, and it is different. I feel like I didn't really appreciate actually how like constricting sometimes the house was and how dark the house could be at times, um, until living in a different one, and it was much much nicer.
Interesting. I can totally relate to that, man.
Mm.
I can totally, because I grew up in a haunted house, like
Oh yeah.
yourself. I was always very scared as a kid, like,
Hmm.
and saw a lot of weird things, experienced a lot of weird things. My whole family did, in fact, experience weird stuff in the house that we grew up in.
Yeah.
And I remember, so we had a lot of experiences there. We never really talked about it as a family until
Mm.
we left. And like my dad said,
It
so
was
glad
safe.
we got out of that house, man.
Yeah.
But I remember the first night in the new house, and I've always been scared of this dark. Always been scared of the dark, even up to this day. I'm still quite
Mm.
scared of the dark. I know that sounds sad, but I am.
No, no, no.
I can't really be in the dark on my own.
Mm.
I just don't like it. I just really
Yeah, yeah.
don't. I've seen too much weird stuff, and
Mm.
um, but I remember moving into the new house that we moved into when I was 12,
Yeah.
and I remember the first night in my new bedroom, and I we had no curtains up,
Hmm.
but the lights are off, and there was a lot of light coming through my bedroom window,
Yeah, yeah.
and the whole room was lit up, but it was still dark. That was still kind of weird for me to be on my own in a new room,
Mm.
and I didn't feel scared. And I remember sort of laying there in my new bed in a new house, which in my old house I would not like. I was a terrible sleeper.
Yeah, yeah.
Lights were always on, telly was on. I was quite often, me and my brother shared a bedroom for a long time. You
Mm.
know, I was just I used to get in bed with my mum and dad quite a lot. Terrible.
Yeah.
But I felt safe in this new house, so I can
Mm.
totally relate to moving
Yeah.
to a new place and just feeling a different energy.
Yeah.
There's definitely energy, and there's things going on around us that we can't see that we sense.
Yeah.
And
100%. Like, because I mean, I'm sort of getting to the point now where I think I'm trying to think of a bit of a scientific brain. I'm trying to think,
mhm,
okay, what if there is ghosts, then what is it? It's got to be some kind of energy. There's got to be a reason why you walk into certain buildings and you're like, oh, something's a bit off. Even if you don't see anything, you're sort of like, something a bit weird about that place. But I mean, my sort of going back to the dreams and sort of how why I feel like it sort of latched onto me is a really quick story. Is my mum. When we lived down in Kent, there was a house and I never really liked it. It was like a semi-detached, just your regular sort of suburban semi-detached house. Um, and when I look back on it, I think, oh, I don't know. I was only about 6 or 7 in that house. I wasn't very old, but I never really liked it. Never really liked it. And my mum still says to this day, she's like, yeah, that wasn't a very nice house. Obviously, this is separate from the one with the main story. But I think it's in my genes. Like I think it's my mum. So my mum had obviously a best friend down there. She'd met her mum loads of times and her family, been friends for like 10, 15 years, and they're still friends. Um, and one night, my mum was having a dream. She's told us about this obviously as we got older, and she said her friend's mum came to her in the dream and said, "Oh, I think she'd died. I think the mum had died. Oh no, so yeah, she hadn't died at this point. So she came to my mum in the dream and said, Debbie's looking for these photos in the kitchen of her house, but they've fallen down the back of something. So you need to tell her to go get these photos. She wants these photos." Didn't think anything of it, and then the next morning, my mum gets a phone call or calls a friend or vice versa. and the mum's died overnight. So mum sort of just like doesn't think much of it. Obviously, you're not going to go straight to your best friend and say when their mum's literally just died. But it's like 2 or 3 weeks later, and her friend was looking for some photos, and my mum was like, "Oh, that sounds really strange, but like, look here in this cupboard down the back," and she found the photos. No.
Whoa.
So I think there's something in my genes which has got this sort of openness. I really want to try and expand on it myself. But yeah, I definitely think that's why it latched onto me. Maybe there's this sort of gene that I've got, or some part
Hmm.
of me that's built a certain way, and that's why my dreams are all a bit mental sometimes. And yeah, it's a weird one.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
Do you know if your mum and dad? I think you said already, but your mum and dad, did they see anything in the house? I don't think.
No, my my dad's just closed to it, so I think you have to be a little bit open at least. But
Hmm.
he's closed to it completely. Um, and my mum just said she just didn't really like it. She'd never seen anything, but she sort
Hmm.
of was like, it's a bit dark sometimes, a bit strange. But nothing like actually happened to
Yeah.
my mum or my sisters either. To be honest, it was just me.
Hmm. It's interesting though, man. Yeah, I mean, as you say, that everyone had that like weird feeling about it, which is quite often the case.
Mm,
There was clearly, obviously, you experienced stuff there. There was something going on there, man, for sure.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it is quite often in the family. Like it is often if you're open to this kind of stuff. Like I know my mum and dad have had experiences,
mm,
and I think it's very much in the family.
passed
I
down.
don't know what
Yeah,
it is. Don't know why. You
mm,
hear it with like UFO abductees. Quite often they will say same thing used to happen to my grandma and stuff like that. It's very often you
yeah, yeah,
hear that. So there seems to be some reason why that is. Maybe it's just an openness, and obviously,
mm,
if your parents are open to it, there's more chance you're going to be open to it. I
yeah,
know in your case, you said your dad shut off to it, but it is interesting, man. It's
mm,
very interesting. You
yeah,
quite often hear that with couples as well, where one couple's like seeing dragons, and the other couple is sitting, the other partner's seeing nothing,
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
believe in it. You get that quite a lot as well.
yeah. I find in those cases, I don't know if it's. I mean, I don't think this was anything other than like the spirit of a man. That's what I put it down to.
Hmm.
Um, but I think with things like, I hate using the word demons and stuff like that, but like higher entities maybe that have a bit more power. I think that's how they do it though, isn't it? They want to segregate one of you. They want to get you on your own so that you're effectively being gaslit by your partner who says, well, like, what are you going on about? There's nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it's one of the ways I think for them to isolate people.
That is a good point, man.
Mm,
That is a good point because I guess it kind of takes an understanding partner to be like, if you really don't believe in this kind of stuff and your partner's like seeing mad stuff every day, it must be quite difficult, like for the partner
yeah,
that,
yeah,
and just to be, I'm quite lucky. My wife's had a lot of weird stuff happen as well. I know lucky, that's probably not the right word,
she
but she
understands. Yeah,
understands, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, I think most people generally in this day and age realize that the world is a lot more crazy than we think it is, and that there's a lot more going on. I think
Yeah,
it's kind of, I look at people that don't believe in anything and think, how can you not?
mm,
And when
yeah,
just look at the mainstream media alone, and that's
mm,
crazy enough.
yeah.
So it's very hard. I think, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, even my dad really is coming around a little bit.
Hmm.
Like now, I think sometimes when people get older as well, I don't know if that's because they just have more interactions with death, I suppose, because they're getting older. It's like their parents, their uncles, their sisters, their brothers, friends they know start going. So whether, my dad's a bit more open to it now, like, he's been to like Most Haunted Live with like my mum, and
I went to
I
that.
think I went to the tour they did last year, and I met them. So did you go to the one a couple of years ago? Was it?
I went to one not last October, the October before that, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was really close to my house, and I've got the name of the village.
But I was the same. I was like, I had nobody to go with. It was like
Yeah,
a random Thursday night, but it was like in the same town that I live in.
yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I'm not going. Tickets were like a tenner. I was like, obviously I'm going.
Yeah.
Um, and they pulled people up on stage, didn't they? Did they do it at
Yes.
yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah,
They
so
didn't pick me,
basically,
man. I was fuming.
no, they picked me. I had like a little,
Oh, you got up.
yeah, I got they picked me out the thingio, and I went down and like I thought I know everybody slates her, but I think Yvette's like Yvette Fielding, like she was so lovely, and I know people have like two sides and stuff like that. I don't really know her. It
Hmm.
was just for that time on stage, but she's she seemed lovely. The rest of the team were really nice, and yeah, it was really really cool to meet them. Um,
Did you
and
go
yeah,
backstage and do the ghost hunt backstage?
yeah, I didn't do the seance on the stage. I was part of the other group that went like into the dressing rooms
Yes.
and did like the scrying in the mirror and stuff.
Wow. Any weird stuff happen?
Not really, not really. But
Oh,
but yeah, no, I mean Stuart was really nice. I was basically with him because then we sort of went back up and we're waiting for them to finish on stage, and he was like having a conversation with me, and he was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm in school, like going to nursing." And he was like talking to me for like 5 minutes. Just he was like so nice, and like everybody goes on about like how fake they are and how full of shit they are, but whether they are or not, like
mm.
it's an entertainment show at the end of the day,
It
isn't it?
it was a great show,
Yeah,
and I know obviously something happened where the fake stuff came out.
yeah,
I'm not quite sure. Was it because I remember they put a video out of what they said was a ghost. Do you
mm,
remember that? They called like a
yeah,
man walking up the stairs.
and it
I
was
mean,
Stuart.
was it really? Oh, is that what
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
was? Oh,
I
okay.
think I think somebody. I mean, they didn't even make it look like an actual ghost, like with a cloak or anything. It
It
was
was just a
like
man,
literally,
yeah, just
yeah.
walking up the stairs.
I think somebody's taken like an image of what Stuart was wearing that night,
Right.
and it's basically, and they've just overlaid it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was when they were really crap. Like, even I won't watch that stuff because it's
That
just
was,
that's full of shit. But
yeah.
like the earlier stuff, like the first maybe 10 seasons of it when it was on TV, I loved it. I still watch it
Yeah,
all
I
the
used
time.
to watch it all the time. Like when me and my mum used to watch the live as well. You were saying the
Mm.
live. You used to love that, man. You'd be
Yeah,
watching it like because it was the first time anyone had ever done anything live. Like, and
yeah,
I know we're very lucky now. We can watch a lot of people on
mm,
TikTok and YouTube doing live
yeah,
paranormal investigations. But back then it was like really new and
yeah. And
different.
everybody was in on it as well. Like loads of it was so big. Like
Yeah,
people in school, you'd be talking about it. Like
yeah, yeah.
you know, everybody was watching it.
People getting scratched and it was
Yeah,
just wild
yeah,
and as you say it's difficult because obviously it's a show so it has to get results which is the problem with
mm,
every paranormal TV show
yeah,
we know as investigators. I mean, I've not really done much paranormal investigating myself,
mm,
you have, but
yeah.
when you go to an investigation sometimes nothing happens
Well, you
with
have to come out with me one time.
yeah,
Very
I'd
enjoyed
love
it.
to, man. Yeah, I'm not too far from you. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'd love to, brother.
yeah, it'd
But
be good.
sometimes things don't happen. But
Mm,
the TV show, they have to make something. You know, it's very difficult.
yeah,
But
and it's
not saying that's right to fake stuff
yeah,
at the same
of course,
time. Shouldn't be faking stuff. Just don't put stuff out that you don't think's good. You know,
yeah.
basically.
It's like a catch 22, isn't it? It's like I am sort of, I sort of pride myself on not faking things because at the end of the day, I want to find out what's out there.
Hmm.
So if I'm faking something, I'm wasting my own time
Yeah, and you're
and my
kidding
own money,
yourself. Yeah,
kidding
yeah,
myself. And if people watch my videos, they'll see like I'm not this person that's like screaming or like, "Oh my God, did you hear that?" Like even when I hear something, I'm like, "Okay, what was that?" Like,
yeah.
and that's not what gets views. It's like people want. I know it's unpopular opinion, but people want the fake. I think.
Interesting.
I think people sort of put it to the back of their mind. They sort of know it's fake with all these massive channels that have been, caught to being faking and stuff.
Hmm.
And I think people just put it down to they just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And because I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm doing it to try and actually like find proper evidence. There's
Hmm.
some places I've been and the video's like 10 minutes long and it's just me talking to the camera because nothing's happened. But it costs money to go to these places. Like it's
Yeah,
just like
absolutely. Yeah.
um
I think there is like I think a lot of people want to see real stuff as well, you know. So I
yeah,
think a lot of people
yeah,
will
yeah.
will like that. You know, the fact that
Mm.
you don't add things or make something of a noise that wasn't. You know, it's obviously you're going to hear taps and stuff in
Yeah, yeah,
old houses. You know,
mm.
that's going to happen. You
Yeah, yeah,
know, it's a very difficult one.
yeah.
But
I mean,
like a lot of people I talk to, especially from the UK, will
mm,
often say Most Haunted was their
part of
first
it.
kind
Yeah,
of. So I mean, in that sense, you can say like whatever happened in the end, like they did actually bring to light a lot of people
yeah.
into this subject and have definitely helped grow the. I mean, it's
Oh,
probably
100%.
off the back of Most Haunted is probably what Ghost Adventures. I might
Yeah,
be
I think it
wrong.
probably was. And then I don't know when Ghost Hunters, is that the other one? So
Yeah, yeah.
Ghost Hunters like another one. But yeah, I mean, it really is like they sort of kickstarted it almost. It sort of became in the mainstream, and I think once people start to open up and they're like, "Oh, I like talking about ghosts," or they start to go, "Oh, well, I've seen this," and then they
Hmm.
get talking to their friends. Their friends go, "Oh, I've seen this," and it sort of, you
Opens
know,
a conversation. Yeah.
opens the conversation, and people I think are a lot more open to it now.
Hmm.
And yeah, that is down to Most Haunted, like because it was so huge. I mean, they went to America and everything, like
Yeah.
you know, and I've met Richard Felix, who was the historian on Most Haunted at a convention. Um, and he sort of seemed to think that Derek Acora, R.I.P.,
Yeah.
wasn't as full of shit as it was made out to be. He actually thought he actually did have some sort of mediumship, but because it's a television program, they wanted possession. Because it's a television program, it was like, oh, we've heard this massive bang. Can I go investigate it? No, you can't. It's a ghost.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. I don't
I used to
think
like Derek Acora.
I thought it was great. And I know, like,
Yeah.
Mary Loves Dick. Like, oh, come on, like, it's great TV. Like, it's amazing. Like, let's just.
I mean,
let's,
the
let's-
thing is, obviously, that was another reason why Most Haunted got a stick because the fact that they claimed that he looked into some of the places they were going to, and
yeah,
he wasn't meant to do that. But I used
mm,
to think, like, if you're in Manchester, you know you're in a certain area, or wherever you are in the UK, you know
yeah,
what kind of area you're in, you know
mm,
there's going to be a man out. You're going to know where you're going, surely. You
yeah,
know
yeah,
they probably shouldn't have led with that he doesn't know where he is, or
mm,
he's not researched the place.
yeah.
I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I used to really like Derek Acor, and I mean, they didn't talk about him. I don't know if they spoke about him when you went on
No,
the event.
I think they sort of swerved by it. I think they.
Yeah, so clearly something happened where they kind of all fell out and maybe
Well, it
blamed
was
him.
so they actually caught him. So I think it's the story goes something like they were at a location and Derek came up with this name. I can't remember what the name was, but he said that it's like this spirit, and it was an anagram of Derek Faker. So like someone in the production team had planted
Ah,
this
they set him
name
up.
and set him up, and he came up with this name, and it was yeah. When you
Oh,
jumble the words up, it says Derek Faker.
oh dear.
So that's how they got him. So there was definitely all that happened.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, poor Derek.
R.I.P. Derek. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
whatever you want to say about it, I know a lot of people actually like, get annoyed when you mention Most Haunted, but
mm,
it was a great show.
yeah,
It definitely helped the paranormal world grow,
yeah, yeah.
100%. I don't, I
I'm
think
still
it
gonna
played.
watch it tonight.
Yeah,
After we've spoken about it, I'm probably gonna stick it on while I'm
yeah,
editing or something.
absolutely. That's great. And you used to see historical places that
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and again, that was another great part of it. You're seeing these beautiful places, the history, and that was another part of it as well. You
yeah,
you get to
exactly.
see these places.
And it's sort of like that when I go out now. It's like so I try and do private locations, so it's a lot more money.
Hmm.
But if there's a few of you going, you split it between you, and you don't have the members of the public there to deal with who are just there for the stag do or the works night out, who just are there because it's a laugh, which it is. It's good fun. Um, but where was I going with this thought?
I do that all the time, brother. Do not worry.
Renting out a place, going on a paranormal investigation. Oh, I can't remember now. What were we talking about? It's just gone.
History, like,
History. Oh, that was it. Yeah. So
yeah.
like, so, thank you.
I do that.
Uh,
That's why I've got a pen. I write things down because I do that very often.
I'm just a nightmare for it. God help me when I'm actually old. Like Jesus. But yeah, like I've been to like a few places on like paid public ones, so it's 60 quid. But like some of the locations are like amazing, like and you just get to go in. Like I'd pay that to go in the day and go around it. So
Mhm.
why not, go for a ghost hunt in the evening and
Absolutely.
get the history
Absolutely,
as
man.
well.
Have you had any weird stuff happen while you've been investigating?
Oh, I've had so this is sort of another sort of point. Obviously, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I don't want to
No, it's absolutely
chew
fine,
chew your
brother.
ear off too much.
Keep
But
going, brother.
I've sort of done it the other way around. So I started as a believer, had this experience, and now the more I go out, the less I believe.
Interesting.
So I'm doing it like it's the wrong way around. You're supposed to not be a believer. Stuff happens, you see something, and then you believe. But I go out on some of these locations sometimes, and it's like nothing. It's just dead. And it's again, it's like the energy, you just feel it. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. Like I've been out with some friends, urbex into like abandoned locations. And we went to, I'm not going to name obviously any channels or any locations, but we went to this one location that all of the channels have been to, and they were like, "It's terrifying. It's like it's like the Conjuring House of the UK. Like it's terrifying." And I went there with this team, and I was like, "Didn't hear anything." It was like maybe a couple of knocks and a few bangs here and there, but you can put that down to a house settling in the night. It's like
Hmm.
we didn't pick anything up there. Um, and to me, that sort of makes it a bit better because I'm like, if it was so prevalent, then you would know something was there.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is part of the fun of going out to these locations. Is like, man, sometimes I'll come away with like one EVP from 6 hours of being somewhere, um, and to me that gives it more credit. But we went to the Four Crosses Inn in Cannock Chase a few months ago, which obviously is like a very big place at the minute. All the teams are going there, and it's meant to be black-eyed children, and again, it didn't really feel like much was there. But I did get this one EVP, and I was sat on this like in this corridor by myself. Put my camera right at the end in night vision, filming myself, and I've got like a REM pod, something else, and something else, um, in like a line, and then me at the end. So the camera's picking up the entire shot. And I was like, oh, if there's anybody here, please, like, I come with, best intentions, please, come closer. Can you make a noise, anything like that? And I sort of start saying, oh, can you, if you go close to this REM pod, if you go close to this thing here, it'll make this noise. Um, can you do that for me? I shit you not, I thought I heard it at the time, but I heard the word no, and I picked it up. I got it on camera.
Whoa.
So it's like it actually answered my question. It was like, no, I'm
What?
not going to come touch that. But
So when you say what did the no come out of? Out of just the
it
air,
felt
or
like
was
it
it
came
like?
from, yeah, it felt like it came from behind me. So I was sort of
Whoa.
sat,
So that's weird, man.
I was sort of sat at the end of the corridor, and the sort of stairs was there. And so yeah, there was nothing behind me, but I could have sworn you can sort of see me on like the footage, like look like that. And it wasn't until I was like properly going through it, and I was like, yeah, it just says like
So
like that.
so you heard it.
Yeah,
It wasn't from a machine or anything like that, and the
no,
cameras picked it up as well.
yeah. You clearly here. I'll send you a
Whoa.
messenger.
Interesting.
Clearly says no. So that was really cool. But
So
again,
I
that was
mean, how can you explain that, brother? I mean, that is
it's strange,
you've
isn't
got
it? It's
so
like
much evidence there.
and it's but again, that was like the only thing that happened really that night,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's like I'll take it, but I feel like it, it, I think yeah, the energy has to be right. I think it all comes down to energy really.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes you walk in to a place that's meant to be reputedly haunted, and you're just like, I don't feel anything,
Hmm.
don't feel anything, and maybe that's just the vibe of the spirit, or the energy that's there doesn't want to show itself when you're there. Or so I'm not saying things aren't there, but yeah, it's
That is very interesting though, that you caught that no.
Yeah.
And I mean, and for me as well is like, obviously I love the paranormal, and it
Mm.
fascinates me, and I do love watching those shows where they go crazy. You're right, but
Yeah.
I also like people like you that are skeptical, that are
Mm.
not, you're open, but at the same time you're skeptical, which is,
Yeah. Yeah.
I try and be more like that now.
Mm.
But the fact that you've caught an actual word that you've
Yeah.
heard in your physical ear, and the camera's picked it up as well, and it's
Yeah.
not come from a device. For
There's
me,
no
that
devices like that
that is
on.
like, and I know, I trust that you're putting that out, and it's legit. If you was getting that every
Yeah. Yeah.
weekend, you might go,
Mm.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fact that you don't get a lot normally, but you've got something like that, I
Yeah.
find that pretty incredible.
Yeah. That's probably the best piece of like evidence. And then there's like, sort of circumstantial is like, I don't know if you've seen it, or it's sort of everywhere at the minute. This new location, it's called the Priest Cottage. It's like it's based in Leeds, and it's an very old building. But it's the sort of place where everybody's sort of going at the minute. Um, and I sort of know the girls that run it, so like we've become friends. So I've been there a couple of times, and the last time we were there, I went there a couple of weeks ago, but the time before that, we were doing an Estes method. So I don't know if you've obviously probably heard of it,
Hmm.
where the I've got the headphones on and the FM radio is like going through the stations really quickly. I've got my blindfold on, so like sensory deprivation, and they're asking questions, and then I'm spitting out words that I'm hearing. And I think I was close to something was close to me that like doing that. So they've got me on video, and I'm sort of like because it's cold, I'm hunched over the radio. I'm sort of on the radiator, and it's going for like 10 minutes, and they're sort of asking questions, and I'm getting like a few hits here and there. But the main story there is that a priest or a teacher from the Sunday school murdered children. That's basically the story of the
Whoa,
place.
I've
Um,
got some dark history.
and dark history. And so that's who they think comes over sometimes because it's obviously a massive building, but we're only in one part of it. And I've been there a few times, so I'm like, if it remembers, it could remember this person, it could remember that person. I think sometimes as well, you have to build up that rapport with a building or with an energy.
Hmm.
Um, and basically, I was doing this Estes method, and I'm just sort of talking like I am to you, words, random words, but like this sort of tone of voice. And then all of a sudden, you can sort of see it on the camera where my voice it doesn't change. You just if I was playing it to somebody with no audio, it with no visual, they'd still think it was me. But it's like the way I was saying things, I was like really short, and like the words were becoming more and more sinister. Um, and like a previous night there, I'd done the Estes method, and I'd said like sentences like "I want to be alive again," and it's like time to have fun or something like that. And then they pulled me out of it. They were like, "No, you're coming out of it." So that was the first night, and then this second night, I really sort of felt it almost felt like it was behind me, and it was like talking through me, but like my body posture changed as well. So it was like I was like hunched over the thing, and I can't remember what the responses were, but some of them were quite good hits. I remember, but yeah, it was like my voice changed, like my attitude. It was more my attitude changed, and they were like, "Okay, right, pull him out." So they tapped me on the shoulder. I sort of take the blindfold off, and I like look up, and it's like the strangest thing watching it back because I'm really confused. So like they pull me out, and I lift the blindfold up, and there's three people sat there, and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" Like it's almost like I couldn't remember the last few minutes. It's
Whoa,
really strange. It's really, really strange.
that's wild, man.
Yeah.
So,
But that's all circumstantial. Obviously, I can't say that's, like with the no, at least I can say, well, that's on there, that's visible,
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But that was really strange.
Wow, man. So, could you feel like this entity was trying to take you over? Is that how it felt?
I
Or,
feel like I hate the term possessed. I hate the term possessed. I think it was more, I think like when you listen to like the Enfield poltergeist, like Janet Hodgson talk about this entity that spoke through her. It was more like it's behind them and it's just their voice coming through. So it's not like possessed, I'm gonna murder everybody. It's almost like they're just sort of just behind, and when I speak, it's just that voice that comes out. So I wouldn't say I was possessed, but like
Wow.
it was definitely strange. And they were like, what you were saying was just getting darker and darker, um, and the way you were saying it. So yeah, that
So,
was
so your voice
incredible.
was actually changing as well.
Changing, so you'd still be able to tell it was me, but it was
That
like
is wild, man.
I just come in. Um, it was like my tone of voice was
And the
like I was
fact that you don't remember what you're saying as well, the
mm,
fact that you've come out of it and you're like, oh, which you very often hear with the Estes method, people say
mm,
that. That I
yeah.
mean, that is wild.
It's so strange. I love doing it now. Like I proper got into that. I love doing the
Does,
Estes method because I think it builds the energy as well. I
hmm
think
Does
as
it not
well.
worry you though that you're letting something in and it might
I
take
don't
over? I know
know.
you said you don't like the possessed, but do you
I
think
never
that's actually
I've never felt it
a
though. Other than
danger?
that, I didn't mean to cut you up. Then
That's all right,
sorry.
man. That's all right.
I've never felt it doing like that. Doing
Mm-hmm.
it. I've done it a load of times, and that was the first time I was properly like, okay, that was maybe a bit too close for comfort. But yeah, I take my cat sometimes. She's come with me a couple of times to that location. So,
How does she
yeah,
react? Because dogs and cats, they
yeah.
definitely
Well, this is sort of
see
what
a
I
lot
was
of stuff.
thinking, and obviously, because I know the people who run it, and I was like, "Oh, can I bring my cat?" They're like, "Yeah, of course you can, of course," because it's like obviously I'm renting it out, so it's fully enclosed. She can't get out and stuff. And the first time she went there, she was perfectly fine, perfectly normal. And last week or the last couple of weeks when I was there, again she was fine most of the night, and they've got it on camera. But I think I was on my live actually, and someone's videoing me doing. It's similar to the Estes method, but it's called like the Gansfeld experiment. So it's more like visual rather than audio. That's not even a word. You know what I mean? Audio. Um, and they're like, so we're in one room, and there's like a little corridor, and then the cat was in the other room, the other bedroom. And so I've just got, I don't know, anything's going on. I'm just sort of listening. And on the video, they're like, oh, Lizzie, the cat's she's acting really weird. And they sort of go to like open the door a bit more to look at her, and she's like she's frozen in place. But it's like she's not stood. It's like she's walking and she's stopped mid walk, and she's like that. And it's for like 5 6
Whoa.
seconds, she's just like not moving at all. And they're like, "Oh, Lizzie, Lizzie," and she's just like staring at something, and she's like mid walk, frozen, and then she just starts walking again.
Whoa, man.
So I don't know. That's strange.
Yeah,
That's strange.
cats and dogs, they do that. They seem to see stuff that we can't see sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
Very strange.
yeah. It's really weird.
Man.
Yeah, I've never seen her like that. Again, if she was just stood there or sat there staring, whatever, that's fine. But the fact that it was like she was mid walk and she's just
Yeah.
like been stopped by something or like she's seen something.
Something's
Uh,
literally stopped her in her track.
yeah, yeah,
Whoa,
weird. It
that's
was really weird.
wild, man. So even though like you've experienced quite a lot, which kind of it's carried on from your childhood to
Yeah.
now, really, you're still having
Mm.
experiences. Have you seen anything else other than the shadow figures that you saw in your old house?
No, nothing else. Um,
Not yet.
Not yet, not yet. One day, hopefully. I'm just trying to. Yeah, I think I will actually shit myself if I do see something
Yeah,
again. But
you got to be
like,
careful what you wish for, right?
I know, right? It's like opening yourself up to it, but like you say, careful what you wish for. But no, I'm sort of. That's what I mean. Like, I'm sort of just taking it investigation by investigation and sort of taking it as it comes, really, and not expecting too much. I think sometimes I put a bit too much on myself, especially because I'm filming it for YouTube and stuff. I think sometimes I just want to enjoy it. Like, I think I'm going to book on a couple this year and not take a camera and not take anything and just because sometimes I feel like I just get lost in, oh, I need to film this or I need to get this bit of footage.
Hmm.
And I wonder sometimes if that's a bit off-putting if there is something there
That's a
that's
good
like
point. That's a good point. You're
mm,
focusing your mind on that side of
the
things,
wrong
and
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when it'll all happen when you're not filming it. You
Mm.
know that, right?
Oh, 100%.
And then you'll
100%.
be back on the podcast saying this happened. I know
You've
it
seen
sounds crazy, like I
it.
wasn't recording.
Run it back, run it back. We said it was going to happen. But yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh man, but it's very interesting, man. Very
Mm.
interesting. As I say, I quite like the skeptical side. I try and be skeptical. When I
Yeah.
started Let's Get Freaky, I jumped. I've had a lot of experiences myself, and I always
Mm.
jump straight to the paranoid. I try and be more skeptical
Yeah, yeah.
now when something happens in the house or whatever. I think, okay, that was weird, but it's not definitely supernatural. But
Yeah, yeah.
quite often, sometimes you just can't find a logical explanation, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, that's
100%.
when I'll share it. When
Yeah, yeah.
but there's a lot of weird stuff that happens, but there's definitely a lot going on around us that we can't see. That is
100%.
for
Yeah.
sure. And we get glimpses. It's very interesting with the dreams, and
Mm.
it all seems to be connected. You mentioned at the start about UFOs with the 411. Have you had any UFO encounters? Have you seen anything strange
I
in the
mean,
sky?
it's really weird that you say that
Let's go.
because so I'm at the minute my partner isn't very well, so he's got the main bedroom and I'm in the second bedroom. Um, and the cat has been sleeping on the end of my bed,
Hmm.
but she does this thing where she'll like I don't know some habit she got into where she'll tap the blind. When I fall asleep, she starts tapping at the blind. So the blind's open in the second bedroom, and it's really weird. And I said this to my partner, and he's like, "Oh, he's such a fucking idiot." But like the other night, it was literally this week, or the end of what day are we on? Monday. Yeah, so last week, some point, like Thursday, Friday,
Oh,
I
so it's
woke up
fresh.
fresh. That's why I was like, it's weird that you asked me that question. So I like woke up and it was still dark-ish. The sun was coming up, but there was a noise. And it was like a hum. I would put it down to. I can't remember fully what it was, but there was like a red spotlight in my room, and it like it like went from I watched it. I like sat up in bed. I think this noise had woken me up, or the cat had woken me up, and it was like it would be like a policeman, say, shining a flashlight through, and it went from one end of the room around the room, and then just out the window. But against the wall, it wasn't like something. It wasn't like a ball of light moving through the room. It was like against the wall. And of
Oh,
course, I'm on the fifth floor. I'm on the fifth floor, so it's definitely nobody. My mate was like, "Oh, it could be like a lorry." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm not on a main road, and we've got like a balcony which is quite high, and the bed, the rooms are down, sort of almost beneath the balcony level. Um, so even if it was a lorry, which it wouldn't be, um, it wouldn't be able to get over. The light wouldn't get over the balcony and into the room.
man, yeah.
It moved from, and I've watched it. I sat there and I watched it go around like that. It was really weird.
That's what, and it's wild that it's happened like literally a couple of days ago as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Whoa! What do you
really
think that was,
strange.
man? I know you don't know. What do you
I
think that
don't know.
was?
I literally have no idea. I mean, at this point, I'm putting it down to sleep. I don't know. Maybe it was a dream, but it felt real. I felt like I was awake.
Yeah,
And what a weird thing to dream about for like a few seconds as well. Like,
yeah, man. And I have to say, I've heard other people say about a red light in their room.
mm.
That's
And
something I've heard a couple of times.
my partner was like, "Should I check you for like a mark? Like, have you been abducted?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. Could have been. I don't know.
Any missing
I don't know how
time?
it works." But I think the more, so I definitely think aliens are more likely to exist than ghosts. 100%. That's my
Interesting.
hot take.
Yeah.
Um, but again, that's because I'm quite scientific, so I know for like there's got to be aliens out there, like
Mhm.
in the universe, all of the galaxies, all of the planets, all of the solar systems. There's got to be life. We're not the only ones. It can't be like
Mhm.
statistically. So that's only why I say that. Is why I believe more in UFOs than ghosts, even though I've had experiences. Um, but What's again? My mind is gone. My
Don't worry,
mind.
man. As I say, I
Oh yeah,
do
that's.
that very often.
I think the more you speak about them, I think like could be surveilling the earth, 100%. I think the more that because obviously a lot of the missing 411 cases when I was recording those, it's a lot of talking about aliens and like Area 51, which I've spoken about, and I think the more you talk about it is like inviting it in almost. Um, so I've not seen anything like categorically that I would put down to it, but that was weird, and it was weird that it was recorded.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man. You look into the paranormal, it looks back.
yeah,
That's something
100%.
I 100% believe. The more you
Mm.
look into it, the more you find, and the more it comes to you. So that's why we say be careful
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
wish for.
mm.
Whoa, man.
Yeah,
I mean, ghost activity and abductees. I've talked to many abductees as well. It's quite similar.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
similar experiences that people are having, and I often say that we put these things into a box of that's a ghost,
mm.
but maybe it is something. It's something to do with what we would consider as more aliens,
Yeah, yeah,
entities. Aliens are aliens, entities are, I know there's so many rabbit holes we can go down.
no, 100%.
Are aliens like an entity that's amongst us, and
Mm.
we talk as them as if they're from another galaxy, far,
Yeah.
far away, but maybe they're right here. And I know there's a lot of things going on, and it could all be going on. It could all be true.
I mean, I have a mad theory. I feel
Let's
like this is
go.
this is the proper place to share it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely, brother.
people who listen, people who watch, they're going to be like, "This guy is such a wanker." They're going to be like, "He's such a dickhead."
No,
But
mate,
right,
no.
just a theory. So obviously, um, so have you seen Interstellar?
Yes, I think I
Uh,
have. Remind me
have
what
you
that is. I think I've
It's
seen it.
the one with Matthew McConaughey in it, and it's like they go on like the space mission to like I can't remember the full plot, but the thing is basically a looped timeline, if I'm
Right.
remembering it correctly. So everything that has happened will happen again and has happened, and it's like not a linear timeline where it's a start and it's an end, it's a loop. So
Hmm.
if something breaks in the loop, then it creates almost like a paradox. So if something happens, I think they're off to like, they need to do something to save the world, it's something like that. Um, if they don't accomplish that, then technically they never exist because they're all wiped out at that point. So they never are born, and it's like the cycle never resets.
Hmm.
And I was doing a lot of research on places like Chernobyl, and around the time of the Cold War. And this is a proper mad theory. You get literally tinfoil territory.
Let's go.
Um,
That's what we like.
they 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 had a lot of these UFO sightings around places like Chernobyl. There was even sightings of something sucking radiation out of the air on the night. There's been like reports of people who've seen that. Um, and like all these secret military bases, like in the US during the Cold War, um, people reported, like obviously the people that worked there, because they were like secret bases, have reported seeing like lights in the sky and stuff. So I think it's like, and I'm going to sound so mental. And I love little crazy theories. This is mine. I wonder if it's us. So if we all bomb ourselves and nuke ourselves into like oblivion, then it's almost like there's these lights in the sky to prevent like this happening. So if someone pressed let's nuke Russia, let's nuke America, it wouldn't have happened, or like there was something there because
Interesting.
if we all nuke ourselves to oblivion right here and now, then we're not like in the future we're not this advanced humanoid sort of being, and then in turn it would come back around so that we would never be
Yes. So everything would be
we
wiped
never
out
start.
because the
Yeah,
circle would be destroyed. That
yeah,
makes a lot of sense, man. Because you think when the UFOs started to like reoccur in our times. I know they've
mm,
kind of possibly been around forever. You can argue that in biblical texts, some of
yeah,
it relates could possibly be UFOs. In old
mm.
paintings, there's pictures of possible UFOs in the
Hieroglyphics
background,
and stuff,
things like
and like
that.
rocks and
But
stuff.
primarily, when we started reporting UFOs, was like the 1940s.
Mm.
when we started making nuclear weapons. It like
Yeah.
coincided with that. So you're
Yeah.
very right. Maybe there is something to do with that. And look, we look at the world right now, and the people that are running the show, if they really are
Oh
running
God.
the show, whoever is running the show, could
Yeah.
destroy the show at any time.
Yeah.
It's very quite scary. We're kind
Mm.
of we're on the edge
Teetering. Yeah.
some
It's
days,
like,
where
yeah.
it's like this could all end because crazy people are running the show, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe there is something there ready to stop that from happening. That
Yeah.
kind of makes sense.
Or maybe, maybe it's not us from the future, but like maybe there's something that the human race does or something, and they need us to get to a certain point,
Yeah,
on like the human timeline, maybe where we travel like interstellarly and stuff like that, and we do something somewhere else that needs to happen. So it's something like that. I don't
interesting.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
Really weird,
Maybe
really
that's
weird.
what AI is. I know we're going
Yeah,
deep. Maybe that's what
yeah,
AI is. But
maybe.
some people say greys are the future versions of us. That's a
Yeah,
theory that some people put out there.
yeah,
There's so much to this stuff, man. But it is fascinating. And I do love wild conspiracies and wild theories. So keep
yeah,
them
yeah.
coming, brother. No problem.
I mean, that's my main one. That's my main conspiracy.
So the red light that you saw a few days ago,
Hmm.
have you had any other weird experiences to share, or is that at the moment, is that where we are?
That's sort of where we are at the minute. Like I say, it's really weird. Woke up, red light, just go, and it was big. Like I say, it was like a torch. It was a
Yeah.
massive, massive light, and yeah, just went around the room, and
The
then
heck could that
out,
be?
and then it was just pitch black again.
Yeah,
It's weird.
that
Maybe they're
is
just
weird.
putting me off. I don't know.
Yeah. They're looking into you, man.
Yeah,
Because you're
yeah.
talking
Who
about it. They're
knows?
looking into you. Interesting stuff,
Terrifying.
brother. Andy, I've loved talking to you tonight, man. Thank you
No,
so
thank you for
much
having
for
me
your
on.
time. You're welcome back anytime. I think we can talk
Yeah,
more.
thank you. Yeah, no,
I'd
definitely.
love to hear more wild conspiracies, and I'd also like to come out ghost hunting with you sometime,
Yeah,
man. I
no,
really
definitely. We'll
would
sort
love to
something
do
out.
that. Do you want to tell the listeners where they can find you and your awesome podcast and channel?
Yeah, so you can find me now mainly on YouTube. So Spooky Island Radio or Spooky Island Paranormal. I'm sort of between the two names now, but put Spooky Island and one of them in, and it'll come up. And yeah, just the usual sort of Facebook, Instagram. I'm not down with the kids. I can't do TikTok. I can't do it. So like,
Instagram's the
stretch
best.
myself- yeah, Instagram's about. I just stretch myself too thin if I put myself on everything. I just like, but yeah, that's sort of where you can find me. And then if you want to hear like my old episodes, they're still on like Spotify, Apple Music, and all that. So yeah, it's where you can
Awesome.
hear the oldies but the goodies.
Oldies but goldies. Awesome
Yeah.
stuff, brother. Thank you very much for your time, man. Would love to
Thank
talk
you
to
very
you
much for
again
having me on.
soon.
This is
Thank
my
you very
weird,
much.
weird theories.
Love it. I love it, brother. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Guys,
Thank you.
thank you very much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, share it where you can. That is a great way to support the podcast. And we'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Bye for now. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Cheers.